Hello everyone, welcome back to the Bilna Sandeep Show. I am Bilna Sandeep, your host for today, and I'm the founder of Homepreneurs Club, which is a women entrepreneurs networking platform, and I'm also the founder of two marketing agencies, Built Market Lab and Groovy Media. So today on the platform, we have an amazing guest, and when I'm introducing, I feel like goosebumps because I am sitting with the UAE's first Emirati female film director. Welcome on the show, Nayla.
Thank you so much. That's a very warm welcome. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I feel so much privileged to have you on the show. This is the first time we are having a movie director, and that too somebody who's been the pioneer in your industry here in this country. So, and now your first movie is coming out in the theaters soon, right?
Yeah.
How do you feel about it? Do you want to say a bit about it?
Yeah, fun fact. So a lot of filmmakers, and that's why it's called film, they strive all their life to make films.
Yes.
And then it only becomes a movie when it hits the theater. So this is the first time in my life. It's taken 25 years to actually see, my posters on the street and billboards and whatnot, and having it released literally now is a really big feat for me. In 9 countries as well. That is in the MENA
9
region.
countries at the same time it's going along.
Yes.
Oh, very nice. And I think you also mentioned it's coming up in different languages.
Yes, so basically we're trying to utilize, of course, artificial intelligence in film.
Nice.
And what it does, it is record time in delivery, expense,
Nice.
and also quality. So we also use the voices of our artists themselves
Nice.
to speak in Mandarin, Spanish, Hindi. So it will be like my voice, magar
Okay.
dusra language mein hota.
Oh,
Trying to like be AI for you, but it didn't work that much.
So that is how it happens, huh? Like it comes in your own voice, but
yes.
it's a different language.
Yes.
It comes.
Ji haan.
That's like
Yeah.
you are amazing. I think you already also speak 5 languages.
No,
right?
it's someone's doing.
Very nice. So, and the name of the movie is
Three.
The Three, right?
Like the number, and
Okay.
in Arabic it's thalatha, but it's 3. So when people go to the website, they'll scroll down, they'll see English, Arabic, because it's a bilingual film. It's a
Okay.
cross-cultural
Oh,
psychological horror film.
nice.
It's not your hardcore horror, so women don't have to be that scared, but it's more psychological than anything.
Okay.
And this is a genre that I'm very much, attracted to.
I know. I think your movies, 2 of your movies are also on Netflix, Shadow and The Animal, right?
Yes.
They are also in the same genre, like horror.
Yes, they're also horror, but again, same thing. They're more psychological than like your typical horror, I would say. Because
that's-
horror has so many different
Yes.
genres and subgenres, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Now, I just want to learn more about how you came into this industry. And like, for example, if when I'm growing up, and I would be seeing like probably doctors in my family or engineers or somebody. So then I get inspired. Okay, I want to be like them. But you are the pioneer here, right? In UAE, you are the first female movie director. So how did you come into that idea? Like, how was that thought process, and how did you come into that field?
I think from a very young age, like the passion for storytelling was there, which is probably
Very nice.
the same to a lot of filmmakers. But I know I have been able to rip enough curtains in my house trying to make a show for my parents at a very young age. And then I got my first 8mm camera at around 11 and a half, 12.
Oh, nice.
And then there was no stopping me after that. No, I didn't understand at that young age that obviously this is going to be a career choice, but it was just probably the easiest choice.
So it was more like a hobby in the beginning?
Yes, and I kind of I see how it was also very compatible with my number one passion, which is painting, so oil on canvas.
Okay.
And I noticed that a lot of my paintings look like actual film scenes. Like if you pause a film set, how would a scene look like? So a lot of these paintings were like storyboards.
Oh, very nice. So it all started from your childhood. And how was your childhood like? Did you grow up here or did you grow up abroad? How was that?
It was really, we traveled a lot. We
Okay.
traveled between Dubai, India, and Singapore.
Oh, nice.
And I remember, like, as a very, this is a family in the early 70s and 80s. We had this amazing tolerance for other religion and culture.
Very
So
nice.
my dad would take us to all these different celebrations. So at a very young age, I couldn't really differentiate things that much. Everything was blurry.
Okay.
So it broke down what the concept of me and you. It was more
Okay.
like us.
Oh, very nice.
So in this world, we need a lot of healing, that's for sure.
For sure. And I think those travels and living in different places right from your childhood would have given you exposure to different cultures and
Yes.
outlook,
Yes.
right? And how do you bring that about in your movies?
So a little thing I want to say is that there was this magic cupboard, and I would be getting a stool and standing on top of it because I was, I'm still that short. I still use stools, by the way, so nothing has changed.
Okay.
And I would open that cupboard and access my dad's like incredible film collection.
Okay.
And whether it was meant or not, obviously that had such an impact on me as a child, because I was feeding my mind all these amazing movies. And one day I would watch 4 to 5 back to back.
Okay,
Maybe
nice.
not at that point of when I was 7, 8, maybe 4 to 5 would be when I was my teenage years. But you could see the obsession was starting to grow.
Okay, so your dad was the first person who planted that seed of movies into you.
He would be so upset to hear this because he's like, don't do anything but film,
Oh, really?
Yes, of course. And back then there were no role models to
Yes, to
draw
look at,
examples
yes.
from. So it was very daunting for him to say, oh God, my child, who's also like a bit of a maverick, would
Okay.
get into this field. And it's a little bit scary, with the whole
I
film
know,
business and the
I know.
reputation as we all know it.
Yes.
So at that time, as his only girl, it was very scary for him.
So how did you overcome that? Because I can really imagine like there's a lot of cultural challenges to overcome when you go into an industry like
Yes.
movies. You might have your relatives and friends and
Yeah.
telling, Nayla, is it really safe for you out there?
Yeah.
So how was that like? How did you overcome
I became the
that?
danger. Simple, I became the danger as it's an expression. And I mean, probably doesn't translate very well. It just means that there was no fear in me, in the sense I wanted it so much that I wouldn't let anyone bully me in this
Very
field.
good. Very
And
nice.
I empowered myself, starting my own production company after school, after university. And once that was done and my confidence grew, every time a new client comes on board, my confidence started growing.
Oh,
But I
nice.
also have to keep reminding myself that there's so much I don't know, and the learning never continues or
Okay.
stops. But one thing is that no matter what happens, you never let people basically scare you into it, because it is
Very
it's a really scary big kind of ocean, right? Filmmaking.
Yes.
And I was like, how do you go from wanting something to now having a film releasing in all these countries? Like, that's a big leap.
Yes, it's a
and
huge leap.
and I always tell people, like, if you have the incredible willingness to be, and it's not being patient. A lot of people are can be patient,
Yes.
but it's the willingness to be patient over a very, very long period of time. It will crack. It will happen.
Yes, yes. And how was it first start? Like maybe you might have made up in your mind, okay, I want to be a movie director. And what was the first step you took to become a movie director?
It just happened. Like, it wasn't like I pre-planned it. I did a film. My first film in 1996 was called Sweet 16.
Oh, nice.
I feel so bad saying this. I'm so sorry if you're listening to me, my neighbors. I took their cow. And,
their cow?
Yes, like a real life cow. This is
Okay.
Dubai in the early 90s, right?
Okay.
And the film was about this girl who wanted a cow and a belly dancer in the desert to make a music video.
Okay.
The music video was called Sweet 16. And we had to paint this poor cow. I don't want to go into more details, but I shot it on 8mm
Okay.
film, and it did some rounds here and there.
Okay, so that's the first movie that you officially did, probably,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Very nice. And after that, I think you also went into studies, like you went abroad to study
Yes, so I honed
filmmaking,
my
right?
skills. So I went to the Women's College first, and then went to Ryerson University in Toronto, came
Very
back,
nice.
started the production house, ended up doing tons of short films. So it's a very good way to, enhance your skill. And who knew that one day 2 of my shorts will end up on Netflix worldwide?
Yes.
It's crazy, right?
And
Yeah.
how was that? Like, how did that journey of getting into Netflix happen? Like, did you pitch to them, or how is that? Like, for somebody new who wants to be on Netflix, what do they have to do?
Yeah, so credit where it's due. There was a person at the Dubai cultural entity where they were connecting filmmakers to Netflix, and then Netflix had the choice to look at the films, option them, buy the rights for a few years. And then I sent them one of my 2 films, and they
Okay.
really liked it. And I said, well, I have another one. So they're like, okay, fine, send it. So
Okay.
I sent both, and they liked both, and they went quiet. So I thought,
Okay.
they're not buying these films. It's just not going to happen. Water under the bridge. So I'm like, okay, fine. I was a little bit sad. A month later, I get another call saying, "Oh, we won them, but we also won them for a world release." So,
okay.
which is amazing because it's not just my territory, but there are different territories worldwide.
Yes.
Which means you get more value for your film, more
That's
exposure, and just a much better positioning, I would say. And from that exercise, and also from having gone through my feature film, I got signed up by one of the world's I would say most very well put together company called Zero Management Gravity.
Okay. Yes.
Zero Gravity Management, and big shout out to my manager Sarah Arnott, who's looking out for me. So what they do is they manage directors and writers, artists,
Nice.
and find them projects that match their aesthetic sense.
Oh, great. So that's how the next step into a movie making happened.
Yes.
And just before we entered, we were talking about the back end of producing the movie that is going to come out, right? How did that happen? Like getting the producers or getting the money? That's the first part of it, right?
Very painful. Yes.
Like, how did you go about it? Like, how was that?
I actually have a workshop, a 3-hour workshop about
nice.
how to raise money for your first film.
Oh, really?
At the Sharjah Entrepreneurial Festival.
I'm attending the
Yes.
festival actually.
Okay. So I'm actually doing a very in-depth,
nice.
like 3 hours, which we're not going to do right now.
Okay.
But just to summarize it, I would say each person would have their own methodology of raising money.
Definitely, yes.
I would say, like, don't cook on gas, meaning don't raise all of it through cash.
Yes.
Through equity. So try to find different aspects. So for instance, my film, let's say just a round figure, let's say it cost 4.5 million US as an example. I'm not saying it cost that much, but since 90% of my script takes place inside interior, right?
Yes.
Inside people's homes and hospitals and whatnot, by taking the film physically to another country, like for example Thailand, where we shot Bangkok, we were able to cut the budget literally in half.
Okay.
So that's cost
That's
cutting.
about the cost cutting and bringing the optimum cost pricing and everything.
Correct.
Right?
And then of course there are other ways like applying for film grants,
nice.
cash back. There are a lot of rebates now in the world. Abu Dhabi is giving 30%, Saudi is giving 40%, Malta is giving 40%. So there are a lot of countries that give cash back, depending on if you use their local talent and crew and whatnot. So financial plans, as we call them in film, need to be divided into different categories, so you're not putting all your eggs in one basket.
Yes.
Yes.
And I think it's great that you're doing a workshop on this as well, because when you have the workshop, there might be a lot of other women who wants to be like you, who wants to be in your place. So it's amazing that you're going to be sharing your knowledge as well. So if they register for the Sharjah Entrepreneurship Festival, they can come and attend your workshop as well. That's amazing. And when you were doing, did you have a guide who were actually helping you in this process?
If this was 18 plus, I'll speak some very beautiful Hindi Gali, because I had
you had to figure it out all yourself.
Yes, painful.
My God.
Painful. I mean, I remember a time where I shot on Super 35mm and we had to fly in like basic stuff, like, gels and filters and just, specific lenses. Like there was just nothing. I mean, we're talking, very early times here where digital media didn't even exist. I mean, it was 16mm films. I have a 60mm film on YouTube actually called Once. It's quite interesting. It's about how women date in secret back in the old days, because it was just almost impossible. So I chased a girl who went on a rendezvous journey. She gets busted in the end, but we shot on Super 60 and it was very rogue and very guerrilla style filmmaking.
So, I mean, like, if you have an idea, you just go about it. Right? It's more like push till you
Find
get there,
a solution.
Right?
Yeah, I think one of the best, I stumbled into this as a very young child. I was 16 and I've been raising money since 16, and it was for an art gallery and a very well-known brand, I'm not going to mention them, also related to milk. I don't know what's wrong today, cows and milk. They decided to sponsor this gallery, and I was able to speak to them. And I think I raised something like 5,000 dirhams. It was a small step.
Yes.
It was a big deal for a 16-year-old,
That's the first step that you did in terms of raising the money.
And what I noticed is that because they were associated to the art gallery, and at that time they were like a very posh brand, it just changed the perspective of people, how they looked at that gallery. And I thought, this is interesting. Basically, as I grew older, I mean, at that time, let's be honest, I didn't look back and say, oh, this is interesting, because that's going to be BS.
Yes.
But as a person now, I see back that, oh, what I kept doing over time is brand equity. So the brands that you bring, don't take money from them sometimes. Like, if you get a massive brand, sometimes you don't need their money. You just need their brand
to use their
and their
name
PR firepower. Exactly.
Oh, yes.
And once you attach that to your project, then you go raise money, because now it's me plus this.
Yes.
And if they trusted me with their name, you can also trust me with your game.
Amazing.
I didn't mean that to rhyme. I'm so sorry. That was really cheesy.
But I think that is a huge point that you're putting it out there for anybody starting out, not just in your movie industry, even in a lot of other industries, right? Like when you have the name, brand name associated, the trust level that goes is like super high.
Yeah,
right?
I'm sure it's applicable to a lot of things like events, you know, and
I think
whatnot.
it's applicable to every entrepreneur starting out, whatever service sector they are into.
And my last advice, marry well.
Marry the right brands.
Marry good humans.
And now, since you brought the topic of marriage also, right? How important is to have the support of your partner, your spouse in an industry like yours?
Oh my God, like boundless, you know, endless, limitless. I can go on with my synonyms because without my husband, this is absolutely impossible.
I know.
He is extremely hands-on with the kids, and he's a really smart, stable, grounded human being. We kind of balance each other because I'm a bit more like, I guess chaotic is the right word with the way I do things, because I like to take risks. He has now with his investments, but like more calculated risk than I would. But his sense of logic and also his background in finance is so incredible for what I do. So we do complement each other that way. Yes.
Your weakness is his strength and his weakness is your strength.
Or both of our strength is just an extra strength.
Very nice. Very good. Very good. So you are filling each other's gaps, right? Basically. And now even in your industry, it's more of a male dominated industry.
Oh my God, yes.
So what is that feeling like?
I shot a film you're from South India. I shot a film in Kerala, in Munnar. And I remember I went there with an intern. So she's not like official crew, it's an intern, which is still fine. And I had my producer who is a female producer. And we just looked around. And we're in the middle of the forest. It was a Tata plantation.
Yes.
And maybe not the actual
like
Tata
plantation.
In the forest area. Sorry, I forgot the actual name. And I remember there was like a river and lots of crew members. And I looked at her and I said, you know, maybe she said that, I can't remember, but that really struck really crazy. She's like, if all of these men decide to get rid of us, no one will ever know. We're in the middle of nowhere. There are 98 guys or 97, I don't know. And we're the only 2 females on set.
Oh my God.
And we're annoying them because I'm the director and you're the producer. And of course not. I mean, this is an exaggeration. They were amazing human beings. They were just like really lovely and, you know,
very
helpful.
Nice.
We had a fantastic experience in South India. But just to let you know, the huge...
how male dominated it is, right?
Yeah, so you could say it was like 99.9%. Yeah, now things have changed. A little still slow.
But still it's getting better. More women are coming into
3%
the industry.
of all females are cinematographers worldwide. Such a small number, which is kind of heartbreaking. And then directors move between 9% to 11%. It's not great. Producers, we have more. 30% plus are female producers. But with directors, we're still... Let's say for every 10 big films, maybe we're lucky we get 1. Not even. I would say maybe for every 15.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So, but I think it's changing every day now, right?
This landscape has changed. Like with all the big films like Barbie coming out and Wonder Woman, and I mean, there's always a big gap between one big film. Like a lot of people don't know that American Psycho was actually directed by a female.
Oh, nice. Even I didn't know that. So I think it's more of. More women, like now you are into the industry and now you are actually promoting it a lot in different ways. Like you stand for women empowerment and you do a lot of sessions for that, right? So how important is it for women to support other women and bring more people into your industry?
Oh, again, so important. For example, the first person who believed or gave me a break in my feature film is a woman, Mona Al.
Oh, very nice.
Yes,
very
hats
nice.
off to her.
Oh, nice.
She's intrinsically and forever focused on empowering women.
Nice.
She has a new initiative called Meme,
Okay.
where she's the founder, where they empower women in the MENA region
Very nice.
through different initiatives. So it's a very wonderful kind of human being, the kind of work she does. Of course, she's very far from film, and it's her first movie. But because she saw the short on Netflix,
Okay.
she's like, this needs to turn into a feature film, and the topic was very relevant to the Arab world.
Okay, nice.
And then Sultan Darmaki came on board. He sponsored my short, so there was an affiliation there prior to MENA as well. And then, for a while it was just her, and then he's like, I'm in. So then Sultan came in, and then, then I had my third investor, who's an Indian guy who has nothing to do with film. He's into perfumery. And he took a chance on me. And then my fourth investor came on board for my second film.
Okay.
So it just,
It just happened, like
yes.
one after the other, it
Yes,
started happening.
yes.
And now when it comes to like investors, right? Now, if I was going to start a movie,
Yes.
get into movie industry, from an investor point of view, what do you think I have to be prepared for? Like, what do I tell them? Like, what do they get in return for sponsoring me? How is that sort of conversations like?
So, remember when I spoke about the financial plan?
Yes.
So always try to keep the investor's money as low as possible.
So that you have more freedom?
No,
Is it more like that?
no, you can. No, actually, even if they give you 100%, you can still have freedom by
Okay.
having something called quiet enjoyment.
Proper.
And
Yes. Okay.
yes, but from the artistic point of view.
Yes.
But they need to know that the people managing their money have experience. So, for instance, I haven't
okay.
done 20 plus films, right?
Okay.
Then I had to remember brand
Yes,
equity.
yes.
So I had to find humans
Yes.
who have done many films before that to me are my brand equity for those investors. So they're like
So
your
you brought them on board
yes,
along with you.
They're
right?
like your insurance basically.
Okay,
You're
nice,
buying
nice.
an insurance.
Yes.
You can hire producers who have done it before
Okay.
with a successful record, because they will know how to guide you through the process.
Okay. And how to manage the whole funds
Correct.
and everything that
Correct.
comes along
Yes,
with
that's
it.
right.
It's more important to have those experienced hands on your project.
Yes, and
as
you'll have
well.
a professional media lawyers. I mean, it's
Yes.
a crazy. If it's a family tree, it's a very wicked family tree. Yeah, one bad apple can cause big
the whole
problem.
loss,
Yes.
right? And how do you, as a director, your eyes needs to reach everywhere, right? So how do you manage that part of it? Like have you had any bad experiences while shooting the movies? Like, did
Yeah,
you
of
find some
course,
issues?
all the time. I shot my film in the middle of COVID. I mean, it can't get worse than that. It was the horror. I always say, like, the horror of making it was worse than the actual horror.
Okay.
It
okay.
was deep anxiety. Every
Okay.
day we take the COVID test. Over 200 people. It was like
Was
Russian
this
roulette.
when you shot in Kerala? That
No,
movie?
this is the Bangkok,
This
the
is
three, the
Bangkok
one that's
movie.
coming
Okay,
out.
the one that's
See
coming
the
out.
sacrifice
Okay.
for making this film. So because every day we took the PCR test, if anyone was positive, especially SAG actors, it would
Then
go
you had
down.
to cancel that day shoot.
No, maybe the whole
I mean,
film.
The whole film.
Because it
okay.
moves by 10 days, which means I'll lose some of my actors, and you can't replace actors because you have continuity
yes,
issues.
Yes.
It's a nightmare. But we were so blessed. I'm the only one who caught COVID. Can you believe it?
Oh.
And one of the drivers. But I was lucky because I caught it like 2 weeks prior to filming.
Okay, so like by the time you were out of isolation.
Yes, we had also zoning people. Like we had zone, the red zone and green zones.
okay.
So we had to follow the zone system.
Okay. So you shot the movie during COVID time and it's coming out now. So that's is that the usual process?
It was almost right at the end.
Okay.
But then we also shot more scenes.
Okay. After post-COVID as
yes,
well.
6-7 months after that.
Okay. So how long does a movie actually take to come into the theaters? Right from your writing on your
from
first
writing.
page
wow.
to
I've heard people say 5 years. I've heard 2 years. I've heard 1 year. Honestly, it really depends on.
Okay.
If your script is ready, or it takes time to write, or you're gonna buy. So you can actually buy. Okay, three
Ready
things.
script.
Yes, you can buy the ready perfect
Okay.
script. You just saved 1 year.
Okay.
You're a genius, raised money in 1 month. You just
Okay.
saved 1 year and a half. That's 2
Nice,
months.
nice.
Then let's say another 13, 14 months for the whole process. So I would say a year and a half
Year
if
and
you're
a
very
half.
lucky. But that's
Okay.
also being
That's a minimum.
optimistic.
That's a very minimum you will need for a movie to come out.
Yes, and once you build your name,
Yes.
it gets faster because now people know you. They know they can
Yes.
invest with you.
Okay.
More people send you scripts that you could read, that you could identify
You
something
can choose
quickly.
from it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.